had enough of self-serving career politician parasites who do nothing for our people except feeding at the taxpayer trough. I have had enough of Islamic extremists walking the streets of Britain spewing hate, fighting for ISIS and then getting council flats while homeless veterans get nothing. I have had enough of rampant political correctness turning our people into second-class citizens, cowering in fear at being called racist just for being proud to be British. I have had enough of uncontrolled mass immigration allowing millions of migrants into our country, squeezing our people out of our towns and cities and changing the face of our nation forever. I have had enough of the so-called migrant crisis, scrounging foreigners travelling halfway around the world to get to soft-touch Britain for a life on benefits and free housing. I have had enough of our public services, including the NHS, schools and our armed forces, degenerating into a third world shambles while we send countless billions overseas in foreign aid to prop up dictatorships and give nations like India a space program or Pakistan nuclear weapons. I have had enough of watching as the out-of-touch political elite squander the sacrifice of millions of our war hero ancestors who died in their millions to keep Britain free and independent. I have had enough of watching left-wing bigots condemn the British people as racists for celebrating their culture, heritage and history, while at the same time promoting every alien religion and culture at the expense of ours. To say that I am angry is a colossal understatement. I am filled with hate for the crooked, corrupt politicians, hate for the lying fake news media, hate for the globalist institutions like the EU, hate for criminals like Theresa May, Angela Merkel and Comrade Corbyn. I despise and hate the lot of them. That's why me and others decided to launch this movement, to engage in 100 years war against the political establishment, to sweep them all into the political gutter where they belong. We will not rest until our people have been put first in their own country, before migrants, asylum seekers and scroungers. We will not rest until national pride and identity have been restored to our long-suffering people. We will not rest until the expenses-fiddling politicians are subjected to old-fashioned British justice. We will not rest until our national borders have been closed and the endless, gargantuan invasion of our homeland has completely ceased. We will not rest until Islamic extremism has been completely eradicated and the threat of terrorism from jihadis has been completely and mercilessly crushed. We will not rest until foreign criminals have been forcibly deported and sent back to their own countries. We will not rest until British history, traditions and culture is taught in schools and our children and grandchildren have a future they can look forward to. We will not rest until FGM, halal slaughter and grooming gangs have been wiped out and sent packing back to the Stone Age tyrannies of the Middle East. I am sick to death of the political left and the rest of the rotten establishment mocking our national identity at every opportunity. The British people have a history and a heritage we can be proud of. It was the British Empire that ended slavery. It was the British Empire that built roads, railways, universities, schools, canals, factories and infrastructure all across what is now called the Third World. It was the British Empire that lifted living standards for the world's poorest, and thanks to the law and order and agriculture we established across the Third World, hundreds of millions of poor people could feed their families, live in safety and gain an education. Britain is the greatest nation in the world. The nations of Canada, Australia, New Zealand and even the United States of America were founded and built by the British people, an achievement unparalleled in all of human history. To sit back and watch as a motley crew of self-serving criminal politicians squander the inheritance handed down to us by our ancestors is the greatest betrayal. It is better to fight and die on your feet than live on your knees. Whereas the world-famous British backbone gone? Where's the spirit of Wellington, of Nelson and Churchill? Where's the bravery of the Spitfire pilots and the Desert Rats? By sitting back and doing nothing, we are reducing our nation and our future to third world mediocrity and farce. Only a revolutionary, patriotic movement like Britain First can turn the situation around and save our country from the terrible dark future that awaits it. If the politicians and the journalists think they can dismantle our country without an almighty fight to the death, then they are grossly mistaken. How dare they think that they can ruin our nation and get away with it? God help them all on the day of judgment that is coming. I will personally frog march all of them to the Tower of London, through Traitors' Gate, and then to a dose of good old-fashioned British justice. Britain is slowly waking up. The British lion is starting to roar. All the wars, the death, the sacrifice, the suffering of our people through eons have come together in a final movement of survival, to fight with passion, fire and blood, to secure a future for the true British people of these islands. Britain First is no ordinary political party. We are a declaration of war, a movement of history and destiny, with a divine mission to resurrect the great nation of Britannia and to restore truth and justice to our people. We will fight and struggle onwards to victory, and then build an earthly paradise for future generations, and the world will marvel and emulate our example, our greatness and our prosperity. The heavy hand of history is resting on your shoulder, my friend, urging you to be worthy of the mighty heritage that is bestowed upon you by thousands of years of heroes and ancestors. Right now, without delay, are you a British lion or a coward? Are you a Churchill or a Chamberlain? Future generations of unborn British children are crying out for you to take action, to stand proud, to step forward and volunteer before it's too late. As leader of this movement, I look forward to stand shoulder to shoulder with you in the future as we wage a cataclysmic political battle against the traitors and criminals of the establishment. Nothing can or will stop us, for God and history is on our side. All it takes is bravery and courage. Rediscover your British backbone and help me build this movement. Onwards and upwards, no surrender.